Hey everyone, Pat from N Agates. Thanks for being here. As always, appreciate every single one of you. Appreciate all your comments, suggestions, questions. I love it. All right, this is a Lake Superior Agate I started a while ago. This has only been on the 80 wheel. I still have longer to go. It's another fragmented membrane, as you can see. It's got some great features, obviously, and I'm gonna go down a little bit further. This one is one of those fragmented membranes that I'm gonna leave little tiny pits around that husk. I'm not gonna go all the way down because I don't want to get rid of all that burgundy. I want to leave that contrast on there. So this will be a sweet one when it's done. There's going to be some incredible final detail, micro details that'll be just blow away. So here we go. I'm going to get my mask on and get rolling. Just wanted to show you this quick. This is what it looked like originally before I started, and then I've got a few still pictures when it was original, and then I'll get into the grinding. Here it is after the 80 wheel. Things really starting to pop. Details, colors, and 220 wheel coming up. Gonna keep hitting her with the 220 wheel, and not that far away from the 280. Definitely gonna be a cool one, all shined up and finished. Wow. Here we go. All right, I'm going to show you this dry, give you a dry sneak peek. Yes, talking through the mask again. All right, see if I can get a little better lighting on that. Already coming along. Again, this one will have, whoops, this one will have little pits like that just from the fragmented membranes. That's just, a lot of times that's what you end up with, because those are always breaking through the surface of the stone. So you're just always going to have little micro pits. I'll get some of these bigger ones out, but a lot of those will stay just because of the fragmented membrane material, if that makes sense. All right, I will continue on 220. Getting ready to start 280. That's what she looks like dry. A lot of great features on this one. Should look pretty sick when it's done. It's gonna have a lot of those little pits and stuff, but again, like I said previously, it's the nature of a fragmented membrane. A lot of times you'll get, you know, a smooth area and then want to take that deeper, but then you'll open up even more little pits, micro pits like that. So it's just best to leave a lot of that there so you capture a lot of that material without getting rid of it by going deeper and then moving on to the 280 wheel. So here we go. Captain, fire up. Get that water on. How about if I hit the water switch on the floor? There we go. There's our water. And all right. Start sanding this now. All right, little sneak peek like I always do. Wow. I'm gonna try to get my lighting just a little bit better here. Let me move it over. Wow. Look at that sucker. Again, this is why I do it. There's just so much when you go from the outside in. Crazy. Different layers, different colors show up, different shapes, all different materials. Unbelievable. Beautiful. So glad that yellow stayed in that little pocket of red. How cool is that? All right. More on the 280. I'm going to keep sanding here real time. I'll I'll give her a wipe down. We can check it out dry. That's the key. That's the only time you move on to the next wheel is when you're, let me turn off my water. Is when you're satisfied with that dry exterior. And again, this is a little bit different one because a lot of those pockets are going to stay. You know, those aren't going away. But that is the nature of a fragmented membrane too. And yeah, obviously a lot of these super deep ones, I'm not touching that stuff. Then we lose another half an ounce or ounce on the rock, and I just don't want to do that. Wow. Amazing. You start getting that little sheen, right, with the 280 wheel. Pretty cool. All right, I'm going to continue on it. Keep sanding it off so there's no scratches in it. And then move on to the 600. All right, moving on to 600. This is dry after 280. Whoop. There we go. Water on. Another little peek here while it's wet. Incredible. Okay, here it is after a lot, mostly done with 600 wheel. And again, you know, there's lots of micro pits on this one because it is another fragmented membrane. And I know this is my second, and I know I got a third fragmented membrane coming up, but that's just the way my choices worked out lately. But as far as rocks to finish off, but this one, again, you can see the micro pits, but I don't want to go, I don't want to keep taking them out because you get rid of that material on the surface. So you keep running into the same thing. More pits as you get deeper. So you just got to pick a time to stop and capture that, the depth of that color underneath that outside layer. And it's really cool, the effect. You can see down to that colorful layer through the top membrane, fragmented membrane material, whatever you want to call that. It's almost like stringy plumes. You know what I'm saying, that red on the outside, you're looking through that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and moving on to the 1200 wheel soon. This is definitely a cool area with some fortification. That banding is really starting to pop. Obviously I shouldn't say obviously if you're not familiar with it, but the 1200 wheel, the next one is when that shine really starts. So here we go. I'm gonna do a little bit more 600, and then 1200 after.
Just popping now. Some, again, amazing details. Really shows up when it's wet, especially in the later stages, like I said before. I'm going to move on to 1200. 1200 wheel. All right, let's look at this baby dry. Like I always say, a little sneak peek. This is when it changes on that 1200 wheel. You can see that shine really coming through. See if I can get my light a little better there. There we go. Wow. It's definitely totally two-dimensional when you have it in hand, and you can see some of that where you're looking through that outside layer. Start to see that depth. Obviously, I'll as we get through here, there'll be better views of it. But moving on, or still staying with 1200, and not too far away from 3000. This is the 8000 wheel.
$14,000 wheel. Thanks again for being here, everyone. The final reveal is coming up right now.